Hey, it's Andrew Downs. I'm proud to support Three Beards Media, and I would love to work with you. If you need merchandise for your company, organization, band, softball team, whatever, I can help. From name brand apparel to promotional items, large orders or small, online stores, and more, I can help your brand stand out. AKC Marketing is local, based in Johnston, and we are an employee-owned business, so our costs are low and our turnaround times are fast. But most importantly, we give you personal service to make sure you get exactly what you're looking for. Email me at andrew@akcmarketing.com or find me on social media, and let's make some cool stuff together. Now sit back and enjoy this Three Beards Media podcast.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Hawks Eye View. Drew back with me for another week of Iowa athletics talk here. And Drew, could you imagine rooting for a school that doesn't have undefeated basketball teams at this point in the season? I mean, couldn't be us, right? Feeling good. Both our women's and our men's team undefeated, rolling through. So sorry, I had to get that in there. I know that Chris Shipley only listens to the first 2 minutes of this podcast. I'm kidding, Chris. I'm kidding.
It's November 21st. I sure as hell hope they're still undefeated. I'm just saying.
Well, yes, but I mean, we do have the one test on the men's side. We played a Kansas team who was previously undefeated on the women's side. Not the highest quality of opponents, but not throwaway opponents by any stretch of the imagination either. Not by games where you should win by 20, 30 plus. There's a few of those sprinkled in, but that's every team, right? So we're doing what we're supposed to. We're doing what we're supposed to for the most part. A little bit better on the men's side, I think, than some people expected. I'm feeling way more optimistic than where I was at the beginning of the season. I was pretty optimistic at the beginning of the season. I'm feeling way more optimistic than that now. So I'm getting up. I'm getting up a little bit. So
that sounds like some personal information that
okay. Come on, people. Let's listen with fresh minds. No. Maybe it was just the Red Bull that I drank right before this podcast. Maybe that's what's getting me
getting up a little. Pella's playing for a championship tonight, folks.
That's why we're on at 5:30, by the way, folks. I'm Pella grad, contributed to the football program, kept some stats, ran some video, did some behind-the-scenes thing. Was when I was in high school, took some classes from Coach Jay McKinstry, so definitely gotta support them in their quest for a state championship in Coach McKinstry's final year. So, yep, that's on at 7 on Fox. And it's I like high school sports too. I mean, I think some of you might have heard me on the high school football show on KXNO on Friday nights. If not, I'm there. So I have a little bit of a vested interest with that too. So looking forward to high school football all around anyways, even though we're wrapping up now tonight and tomorrow night. So
speaking of high school football, there was some breaking news like 13 minutes before we went live.
Oh, what was that? Did I miss that?
I mean, it has nothing to do with Iowa really, but it is Big Ten centric. Number one overall player in the class of 2025, Bryce Underwood, has flipped from LSU to Michigan.
Oh yeah, he took the $10 million deal.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's Dave Portnoy's money.
Yeah, he took Dave Portnoy's money. All right, great. So all we got to do, Drew, is become the Iowa version of Barstool. And then in about 10 years, we can throw down $10 million on an Iowa quarterback. It'll be great, and we won't miss it. We won't miss any of it either.
Are you saying that we become the Iowa version of Barstool? Is that what you're saying?
A better, a more superior version with more money. We'll offer $15 million. It's going up. No, it's joking.
I love Portnoy myself personally. I think
I do too.
I think he's great.
I do too.
Very, very entertaining. He placed a $100,000 bet on Alabama to win the college football playoff at 1,000 to 1.
Why?
Because it makes $10 million and you get Alabama. That's why.
There's your money, Bryce Underwood. Better hope Alabama wins the college football playoff. I'm kidding.
I mean,
you never know.
It must be nice to have fuck you money like that, you know?
That's what I'm saying. I put $10 on that, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
I'm a nervous Nelly. 10 pays.
Yeah, $10. That's too much. How am I going to feed my family?
Oh no. Jesus.
We're off the fucking rails here.
I love it.
Yeah. Man, I don't know how else to lead into this podcast. I guess we can get the football stuff out of the way. You and I talked about it offline. I'm kind of checked out a little bit. How could you not?
I'm not because they're coming here up the street and I bought my tickets today. I'm going.
Yeah, we're moving in two different directions on this football team. You're going. You get to see the Jackson Stratton experience live.
Is that what's going to happen? Because, like, I don't know what's happening in the quarterback room. I messaged you this morning that I had heard rumblings of the quarterback room getting a little, I don't know, heated. I don't know if heated's the right word. Conflicted. What's the word for it? I don't know because I didn't see anything actually published per se.
Well, I think we're going to get the official news soon. I mean, it's out there. It's circulating rumors.
Cade McNamara did not make the trip to Maryland.
Yeah, that's going to be the official thing that we hear tomorrow. We probably won't hear it until late tomorrow. Good old Friday news dumps with Iowa athletics. Seems to always be a thing.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get another Friday news dump. I believe, kind of just from rumblings I've heard, quiet quitting is have you heard that term with, like, usually that's a term we throw around for corporate office workers. You quiet quit, you just kind of start doing the minimum.
So kind of like the dude from Office Space, be like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop paying my bills.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. So,
or yeah, you're just so checked out at your job, you just realize if you're in a major corporate job, you know, you've reached a certain limit where you're not going to advance. You kind of
this is why I said the concussion news was bullshit from the get-go, Andrew.
Well, so it wasn't, because he did actually suffer a severe concussion that did hold him out multiple weeks, didn't allow him to fly to UCLA. So it's not like the concussion thing was fake. It's just that this is no longer about just a concussion. It's no longer about that. I think there was a thought process that once he was healthy, he thought he was going to be back and ready to go and playing again. And that
how could anybody with a rational mind actually think that's the case by the I don't know what's the word for it, the workload, the workbook that he has provided the University of Iowa.
The resume.
Thank you. That's great. Yes.
Yeah.
The resume he has provided the folks in Iowa City as lackluster is a kind word, I think.
It's very kind.
We were sold a bill of goods from the get-go, unfortunately. I mean, there's a reason why a college football playoff quarterback was able to just walk away from Michigan. Mm-hmm. Like somebody knew something.
Yeah, I think what they knew was the injury history. What they knew was they had something better in J.J. McCarthy, more mobile, sounding familiar, more. Okay, so I don't contend that Cade McNamara would have been this all-world quarterback, but obviously getting hurt in fall camp last year and then tearing the ACL, there's just no coming back from it. You're just not, after you've already done that on one leg, doing it in the other, you're just never going to be the same. That's fine. And you said, how could any rational person believe that? Well, to play Division I quarterback, to an extent, you kind of have to have this overinflated confidence to a certain degree, and some guys just have it more than others. I'm not saying that Cade is an egomaniac, but maybe. Who knows? I don't know the guy personally. To play Division I college football, you have to have a little bit of a certain sense of self-belief and
swagger.
Yeah, and Cade has a lot of that. But then when things don't go his way, it gets really bad for him mentally. And we kind of saw that.
It really reminds me of the Jake Rudock. Like I said this like mid-season. Like this season felt like a 2014 Jake Rudock season.
I think you're on to something there. However, I would say Jake Rudock didn't really quit, at any certain point.
No, he didn't quit. No.
He knew that he had gotten beat out, and so he chose to stick it out. And it's just a different world even 10 years ago in college football. He didn't really have much of a choice. Now you feel like you have a choice no matter what. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, I think that was kind of one of the stories at Michigan too, was like once things weren't going Cade's way, he kind of disappeared on them.
Yeah.
He's kind of repeating the same thing.
He's
kind of have a way of repeating things.
He's a flake.
I'm trying not to just bash a college kid. You know what I'm saying? Trying not to bash a young man.
Wait. I think I said this when we first started this podcast that I didn't want to use the narrative anymore that we're just gonna bash these kids. They're just kids, right?
Yeah, true.
No, they're not just kids now. They're going to be university employees sooner than later, making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Whether you are a punter or a prize quarterback like Bryce Underwood's getting Michigan $10 million money.
Oh man.
I mean,
they're making, that doesn't go well.
They're making hand over fist more money than we will ever see,
right,
in our lifetime. So I have zero sympathy. I have zero sympathy
until this podcast blows up. You mean?
Oh, until we get Barstool money, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, until we get our Barstool major payday.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. That being said, no, I feel like, especially when you're a part of it, Andrew, right? You're still donating to Swarm, right?
Yeah.
Your hard-earned money is going towards these players now.
Yeah.
Therefore, I feel like you have you're a stakeholder in a way. Like you're not giving like $1,000 a month or something astronomical, like big booster money, oil tycoon money, stuff like that. You're not doing that. But I'm just saying, like, I think you're entitled to an opinion, and I think that it's okay to be critical of these athletes. I'm not even saying student athletes anymore. These athletes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's fine.
I agree with your assessment. I guess I just don't want to pile on too much. I mean, all I was trying to do was just point out there's a history. You don't learn from your history. Hopefully he can learn from this somehow, like if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them. So that's kind of where I was going with the conversation. But yeah, everything that you said, criticism, it's all fair. It's all for all the reasons you stated. I mean, anybody who wants to criticize, more than fair. So
yeah.
But by the same token, the way I look at it is my money goes to Jacob Gill. My money goes to Nick Jackson. My money goes to Jay Higgins, to Sebastian Castro. You know, the guys who come back or the guys who come in and are all in, bought in, no matter what. So,
yeah,
I'd say missing on a few guys, you know, that we've had over the past 2 years now. The Proctor, the Caleb Brown, the Cade McNamara. I guess it's kind of worth it for me in a way because think of the hits, man. We'd be royally screwed if we didn't have Brendan Sullivan or Jacob Gill, even though Sullivan's out for the rest of the year. This year's team would be screwed without those two guys.
Here's the thing is that like the non-committal way that Kirk Ferentz brought this up in the press conference Tuesday, like I don't understand because he didn't go as far to say that he was out for the year.
No, he didn't.
But then he said Cade was cleared. But then he said Marco was back. And now there's reports that there's only one left in the room.
Yeah, well, Marco is working back, I guess, is what I've heard. And Jackson Stratton is the one who's healthy, good to go. So we're rolling with Jackson Stratton. No.
So
is that what? So my question then, I guess, is I think what we've kind of said all along, or what I've said all along, is that it's Tim Lester's call. I mean, maybe it's just Tim Lester's call that Jackson Stratton's his best option. I understand that Jackson Stratton's a walk-on, but Jackson Stratton came in, played admirably, I think. 6'4". I mean, there's not a whole lot left to lose. What do you gain by playing a guy in Marco Lainez who hasn't played all year, who has a broken thumb on his non-throwing hand, who may not be fully healthy, who in the limited action that we've seen can't really throw. So I don't, and I know that Stratton's a little bit mobile. He showed a little bit of mobility. He's not a statue. Your offensive game plan is Caleb Johnson and Jazz Patterson and Kamari Moulton, anyways. So
yeah, and unfortunately, that is one part of Maryland's game that's actually formidable is their rush defense. So they're actually ranked 29th in the country in rush defense. So I don't know. There's not a lot. Listening to all the shows the last couple of days, there's not a lot of hope for the Hawkeyes this weekend out here at College Park, and I mean, for obvious reasons. You're going to have to have some sort of resemblance of a passing game.
Yeah. Maybe the coaching staff feels like Stratton can give them that. I mean, if Cade has, essentially quit on the team, maybe they feel like Stratton's the best option there. And I would tend to agree with the limited options that you do have. I think he's the best one.
I know nothing about this guy. Nothing.
He played at Colorado State. He threw, I believe, 4,800 yards and 52 touchdowns in 2 years of high school ball. He's 6'4".
He's 6'4".
Let's go.
He's got that Nate Stanley in him.
No, he's way more mobile than Nate Stanley. He's way more mobile than that.
Oh no.
So who knows? I mean, he did lead a touchdown drive, had us in a position to win a game against UCLA. on the road. We should have never been in that situation, but you can't pin that on him, right? So we don't know what we have in him. By the same token, Maryland doesn't know, right? It's kind of a wild card. Just they can't. How do you prepare for Jackson Stratton? You've seen him throw 6 passes. You've seen him, for 10 minutes of a football game. You can't glean a lot from that. I don't know. I think it's all right.
How much do you put into the stock of Brian Ferentz being on the Maryland staff this weekend?
No, I don't.
Anything?
I don't really.
Because Kirk downplayed it so much to where he didn't even say his name.
That's why.
This isn't a family reunion. He says the week before Thanksgiving that he says shit like that. Like, what do you mean? Right. I don't.
I don't know. I don't really put a lot of stock into that angle. Completely different offense, completely different thing, and it's not like Brian Ferentz could ever figure out how to attack a defense.
No, he's only an analyst, right? So
he's only an analyst. He can only give advice to Maryland's offensive coordinator, who I don't even know who that is. No, I'll be real. I haven't done a lot of Maryland research.
No, you mailed in the football season. It's okay.
I have mailed it in. It's fine. We're here.
Hey, at least I get to go to an Iowa game this year.
Let's go. And maybe it'll be the Jackson Stratton performance of a lifetime. He'll be the first Iowa quarterback to throw for 300 yards in 5 years. And we'll roll Maryland. Who knows? Or maybe it'll go horribly bad. Either way.
The last time they came out here, they hung 55 on them. So,
that could go. That could happen. And I thought that was a better Maryland team than what they're probably playing.
Yeah, Tua's little brother was supposed to be like all conference.
Yeah. I do like some of the pieces on the Maryland team. I like Ty Felton. That's going to be an interesting matchup, I think, for the Iowa defensive backs. If he gets matched up on Deshaun Lee or whomever the second corner is, I think that's going to be a tough matchup for the Iowa secondary. Not Jamari Harris. I think Jamari Harris will do an okay job. But that's really the crux of this Maryland offense and just what I'm looking at right now, just looking at the stats. They're not great rushing, but neither was UCLA, and they ran for season high on us. And
what was it, like 300 yards?
No, it was a shade under. It was like 160, 170 something.
Okay.
Not like 300, but it was a lot less than that. Anyways, we let them overachieve. So I think it's really that, Drew. I think it's get back to, being that stout defense. Hopefully Phil Parker has fixed whatever, prepared for whatever in the bye week for these last 2 weeks. And we see the good defense that we've seen at times this season, not the bad on the road defense. That's really the key here. The on the road defense has been poor. The at home defense has been okay. So that's really the crux of this game. I'll make a pick. I think this game is played, really tight under. This is under City for me all day. I think this is like a 17-13 Iowa win. I think we barely pull it out. I think we, a couple touchdowns and a field goal. I don't know how we get those, but we do. I think it's just a miracle. Kirk Ferentz out of a bye week in November. Special.
I'm going the other way. I think Maryland's gonna win. I'm gonna go 2017 Maryland. I just don't think the offense is gonna do enough. I think the defense is gonna play okay. I think there might be a turnover or two from the quarterback position that's going to result in short fields for Maryland that, have the defense on the field too long type shit. One of those play to your inferior opponent's level and fuck around and find out type game. That's what I think.
Yeah, could happen. So let's take a break. Let's come back, regroup, talk a little bit of basketball on the back end of this podcast.
Making great tasting bourbon requires the perfect combination of ingredients, conditions, and time. The longer it rests, the better it tastes. Revelton Distillery's new single barrel bourbon is made from 80% corn, sourced 100% from Iowa farmers. And unlike mass-produced bourbons, each barrel of Revelton's single barrel bourbon is unique, proofed on when it tastes best. As they like to say, it'll be ready when it's ready. And to ensure the highest standards of quality and flavor, owners Rob and Christy Taylor oversee the production and bottling. Every single barrel. Iowa born, Iowa aged, Iowa bottled. Try the new single barrel bourbon from Iowa's own Revelton Distillery. ReveltonDistillery.com. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your home, or if it's simply time to renovate the one you're already living in, you need an experienced mortgage professional to help you analyze your financing options and to make sure the closing goes smoothly. And that's exactly what you get when you call Kyle Lehman at Wintrust Mortgage. Kyle's experience and expertise, coupled with Wintrust's rates and programs, ensures you'll get the mortgage that's right for you. You may even qualify for down payment assistance. Before you reach out to a realtor, call Kyle and get pre-qualified, empowering you to start shopping for the home of your dreams. Call Kyle at 515-473-0546. Kyle Lehman, Wintrust Mortgage, 515-473-0546. In 2023, a crack Green Beret named Dan Douglas retired his military command and promptly escaped to a full-time career in real estate. Today, this man is wanted by home buyers and sellers who want to survive the process without spending a fortune. If you have a home to sell or want to buy one, maybe you can hire Dan Douglas at Green Beret Realty. You can find him at greenberetrealty.com. greenberetrealty.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks to our sponsors, as always. Appreciate all of you. The women's team, as we mentioned, undefeated, recent wins over Drake and Kansas. You get a chance to watch either of those?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I was watching a little bit of the Drake game. It was this Sunday, competing right with NFL football and specifically the Green Bay Packers. I'm a Packers fan. So I had the Packers game on the TV, women's game on the phone. So it's kind of in between on both, watching both go down. Iowa really controlled that game from tip to the finish. Tough environment there in the Knapp Center. It was a full house. It was a packed arena. Everybody was in town, including Caitlin Clark and Lisa Bluter. They were there in Des Moines for the Knapp Center. The home that Sean Roberts built. He was on the podcast there. Looked like a good time. Iowa didn't have a whole lot of problems with Drake. I thought maybe they would. I know that Drake's a well-coached team. Katie Denbier, Anna Miller. There's a couple of decent players. Katie Denbier had 40 points. She paraded to the free throw line, though. And a lot of those were tight whistle kind of a deal. They were really calling it close, calling everything. But even given that, Iowa was never really threatened at any point in this time. It didn't feel like that watching the game that it was going to come down to the wire or anything. Iowa really handled business. So I am impressed with that. And more importantly, I kind of said to you offline that both these basketball teams are better than expected. I think what I mean by that for the women's team is specifically Addie O'Grady.
That was shocking. That was shocking. I did see that stat line.
The start that she has had for this year is something that I did not see coming. I don't know if it's sustainable, but man, it's good to see because I wasn't counting on her being a critical part of the offense at all.
No, not at all.
I wasn't counting on her doing any sort of scoring. The fact that we have her in that role and she's succeeding in that role takes this team, I think, raises the ceiling a little bit, considering how the other surprise is, well, not really so much a surprise if you've listened to this podcast, but the freshmen. The freshmen that we have are better than advertised, I think. I think I said there would be a lot of up and downs. They play with a lot more like poise than what I was expecting. All of our freshmen. I was not expecting, just the confidence that each of them have.
Sure.
You had a chance to watch any highlights or anything standing out to you about the early part of the women's basketball season?
I just think the contribution as a team, like there isn't, shut one person down, you shut Caitlin Clark down, you have a good chance to win the ball game type roster. That's not this roster. This roster's right. Deeper than maybe the last 2 years period. Right. They don't have the best player in the country, but they can go 7-8 deep and not have a drop off in a Power 5 conference team that should, contend for a Big Ten title, in my opinion. Top 4 seed in the NCAA and host, like I said in the prediction show. I think all that's still there. You take care of business the rest of the week, they'll be ranked. Iowa State did drop that game to Drake. So I believe when do we play Drake? When did that?
Not to you and I, you mean?
Or you and I, I'm sorry. You and I, yep.
Yeah, I don't know when we play you and I. I think it's sometime in December. You're right. If they take care of business this week, as they should, they go back to Carver and they play Washington State. So our women's team gets to play Washington State, who is 2-2. Not any sort of impressive at all. I don't want to say it's a blowout, but we're probably going to be heavily favored in that game.
Sure.
They're not as good of a team as that Kansas team that we won by 13 on a neutral floor is. I think the Kansas women were more of a threat. Anything can happen. We're talking about college kids, but we're going to be favored. We're going to be ranked next week. And then it's feast week. And so we've got the Cancun Challenge the Iowa women are a part of. They get to play 2 games in 2 days. They get to play Rhode Island and BYU back-to-back. BYU's undefeated. Rhode Island's 3-3. So we don't get into the December is where things really heat up for the Iowa women and the men too, but the Iowa women especially.
Yeah. No, so yeah, I mean, my point is I think that there's more contributors to this roster that, they can win ball games in different ways. Yeah.
I like the defense a little more this year too. I think Lucy Olson is, not the pure scorer that Caitlin Clark was, but maybe a better defender. I would say probably much better defender. And Kylie Feuerbach is doing her thing in that way. She's always been a decent defender. She's maintained that. Like you said, a lot deeper, but I think better defensively. And some of that is just like the development of O'Grady that we talked about. I like Tegan Maligne. I think she's been awesome. And Ava Hayden hasn't really gotten rolling yet, and we were pumping her up. But I do think at a certain point she will kind of start to get it. And maybe by the by about halfway, by the time we reach conference play, probably going to be more of a shared thing between her and O'Grady. And that's good because, again, I think that takes this team to another level. So like you said, our preseason expectations, I don't think they've changed dramatically. I don't think this is a Final Four team, but I think this is a team they're going to hover around probably the top 10, I think. They're going to start to hover around the top 10 for most of the year. And I'm not sure if they're on the USC or UCLA level for the Big Ten, but they're probably in a battle with Ohio State for third, I would say. Probably in a huge battle for third between Ohio State and Indiana and Maryland.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Last year was there 5 Big Ten schools that were top 4 seeds?
Yeah, I think this team could finish third in the Big Ten and obtain like a 2 seed, and it wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, I think that's something they could strive for. I mean, we might end up short of winning 30 games, but I don't think it's going to be by that much. Yeah, the December schedule, we can talk about each of those games because we're going to have to do like a full preview for each and every one of those games. But Tennessee in the Champions Classic for the women, Iowa State at home, on the road at Michigan State, UNI at home, Purdue at home. That's December. Only 5 games, but it's pretty challenging for 4 of those, I would say, is a real challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
At least 4 of those are a real challenge because Michigan State's 6-0. Purdue's 3-1. UNI, we saw what they did. Iowa State, they're good. It's a rivalry game. Tennessee's undefeated. It's a good December for basketball.
Yeah,
in the state of Iowa. Have you been able to catch any of the men's action? I know you're not a Big Plus subscriber like I am. I subscribe to Big Plus. Yes, I'm a sucker. I do it. I like to watch these early games. So
I haven't watched a minute of the men either, Andrew. It's been a busy time in the Shipley household. So.
Yeah. You got married, you went on a honeymoon. I mean, it's fine.
yeah.
It's fine. I don't expect you to be watching basketball on your honeymoon or, rightly some consequences would happen. Yeah, I didn't want you getting in the doghouse. That's why I'm here, to be the sicko that buys Big Plus and watches the Iowa men's games in the early season.
I appreciate you.
I'm a college basketball sicko anyways. Like today started off like 10 days in a row where there's college basketball, like 11. Love it.
How about Drake knocking off Miami, speaking of? Awesome.
Early in the season, I don't know how good Miami is. Miami has quality players, though. I don't think Miami is maybe an NCAA tournament team. So, not trying to take away from Drake's win, it's impressive nonetheless. I'll be more impressed if they beat Florida Atlantic tomorrow.
Weren't they back to back like Elite 8 teams though? Miami, Jim Laranaga's teams. Didn't they beat Iowa State?
Last year was a bad year for Miami basketball, if I remember correctly. I think
it must have been the year before that then.
Yeah. Don't make me look up Miami basketball. I'm going to anyway.
I'm pretty sure that was Miami went to the Final Four that year.
Yeah, the year they beat Iowa State, they went to the Final Four. I remember that.
And that was just 2 years ago. I swear.
Yeah, it was. Last year they were 15-17, so obviously not a good year.
Yeah.
The year you're talking about, they were they didn't play Iowa State. They played Drake that year. They barely beat Drake in the first round that year.
Oh.
Tucker DeVries, Darnell Brody, Roman Penn.
What year am I thinking of?
You're thinking of the year before, where they lost in the Elite 8 against Kansas. They beat Iowa State, number 11 Iowa State.
Okay, so
11 seeded Iowa State. You're thinking of that in the Sweet 16, 2021, 2022.
Okay, yeah, 2022. I keep forgetting this is 2024, and we've already had a March Madness in 24. So, yeah,
Yes.
so three tournaments ago, but only really 2 years ago. Yeah.
And not a lot. I mean, I don't think there's anybody really holding over from that Miami team.
Oh.
I don't believe. Yeah, it's all different guys. Now,
well, whatever. Good win for Drake.
It is still a great win. I'm not trying to take that away. I just don't think. I think Drake's going to be a lot better than people expected. They're picked to finish 5th in their conference. It's going to be them and Bradley fighting it out for the conference title, I think. Unless maybe you and I can sneak in there, but I don't really see it.
Ben Jacobson's teams have kind of underperformed here the last 3 or 4 years. It's kind of been disappointing, actually.
Yeah. I love what Drake's doing with a bunch of D2 guys as well. They took a bunch of Northwest Missouri State guys who are very good, and they're playing well at the D1 level. So
good stuff.
And they have a great coach, by the way. Love Ben McCollum. I believe Ben McCollum has ties to Iowa, so there's my. You all wanted Mr. DeVries.
Still do.
I think the real guy that I want for the next Iowa men's basketball coach is Ben McCollum.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's the real guy that I want.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him, and then the way that I've seen that team play just in year 1, 4 games in, I like. There's a lot to like there. So
okay.
Overreaction
in college basketball in November.
Yeah. Not that I'm like eager to move on from Fran McCaffrey by any means.
No, I think I think 80% of us are eager to move on from
then I'm the 20. Keep me in the 20.
You can stay in the 20.
I watched so many Licklider games. I never ever want to go back to that. I'm scared of
what. God, wasn't Licklider only there for like 3 years, bro? Like,
yeah, I know. It was the worst 3 years of my life.
Fair enough.
The worst 3 years of my life. It was
bad. Fair enough.
Okay. This Iowa men's team, the offense hasn't been clicking maybe the past couple games. Josh Dix was out against Ryder. We missed an incredible punt opportunity with Dix Ryder. But anyways, I digress.
November basketball, catch the fever.
Yeah. There's so many Josh Dix puns. I love watching Iowa basketball Twitter with all the Brock Harding Josh Dix puns. It's great.
Dix hammers it down.
Yes. Yes. You can't handle our dicks. Our dicks are on fire. It's great. Anyways, I can keep going. I'm a juvenile.
You should probably have that checked out.
I'm so bad. I love the 2 transfers that we got. I know that Fran has been much maligned for his lack of use or maybe misuse or underuse, whatever you want to call it, of the transfer portal. But he really nailed it with the 2 guys he brought in. Our best lineup involves those 2 guys. That's why even if they don't start the game, they're closing the games when it matters. And you saw it against Washington State. Drew Thelwell had 2 major threes that really iced the game. But it was actually like Iowa's defense against Washington State that won them the game. It wasn't their offense that I would contend. It was actually them locking in on defense when they needed to and getting it done that way, which is they've gotten a lot of defensive 10-second calls. They kind of have this press that they do. They put Traore out there. I love Traore out there at the front of the press. It's awesome. Yeah, I think the rise of the defense and them shooting more threes, because Iowa is shooting considerably more threes per game. They're averaging just under 30 attempts per game, shooting just under 40% as a team from three. And I believe last year they were shooting like half that, maybe around the same percentage, but half that. Yeah, actually 19 attempts per game. So up by 10 attempts per game. And that's because you have more guys who are able to shoot threes. I think that's just a big, and guys who are better at shooting them. Having a guy like Thelwell who can hit it, Harding's shown off a three and a better 3-point shot, and then you know what you're getting from the Sanford brothers and Josh Dix in terms of shooting. Cooper Koch, a lot of shooters. Like, it just looks better. The offense isn't putting up the same numbers yet, but it looks better, and the defense looks better. Rebounding is a major concern, though. Rebounding is still a major concern for this team. Probably going to be that way all season. I don't know what more they can do to counteract that. I think it's just they got to commit to it. They just got to, I don't know. It's just going to be a thing that kills this team sometimes. But I do think that there's signs of improvement. I think we're in a much better spot this year than where we were last year.
I mean, the big thing here when the calendar turns to December, right, is when we get into those December Big Ten games, is avoiding that 0-2 start.
Yes,
avoiding that 0-2 Big Ten start is the biggest thing. If I remember right, we start Indiana, Wisconsin, the first two games.
Nope, we start home against Northwestern at Michigan.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
that must have been a schedule of years past, because I remember having a December where we played both of those guys. It's like, what is the Big Ten doing to us in December? Or like Purdue, Michigan State, or some shit.
For years and years, it was like Purdue in December, Purdue in early December, at Purdue in December. We hate it.
Yeah. So they did us a favor this year.
Yeah, getting us started with a Northwestern home game is, I would say, a favor.
So so avoiding that 2-0 start in the Big Ten, I think, is going to be the biggest thing to set the tone in the Big Ten schedule.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's game against Utah State. I think this Utah State team, they had a coaching change. They're bringing in Jared Calhoun from Youngstown State, who improved Youngstown State each of the years that he was there. They got Ian Martinez, who was on the Utah State team last year, to come back out of the transfer portal, and he's their leading scorer. We've seen Ian Martinez before because he played for Maryland for a couple of years.
Oh yeah,
we got to see him in Iowa City. Not a lot of guys from that team who are still a part of this team, though, so it's not like it's a major advantage. So completely different team for both him and Iowa. Another thing about you, he's their leading scorer. He averages like 25 points per game, and he can do it in like a variety of ways. They have another guard, False Lev, who likes to get to the basket too, can knock down the three, but kind of wants to get to the basket a little bit more. And then they have a pure point guard as well that I like. The big thing with Utah State, though, is like their offensive rebounding. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country through 4 games. I just mentioned how defensive rebounding is a struggle for Iowa.
Yeah.
So they have a 7-footer who transferred in from Stetson. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Aubin G, whatever you want to call him. 12.7 boards per game. He does a lot of work there. But then they have a couple of other forwards that they play as well, a couple of 6'10" guys. Washington State had some big boys. They like to crash the boards hard too, and Iowa was able to get it done. This is another level of the hat for sure. Well coached, and I think Utah State's going to be contender in the Mountain West. It's going to be them, Boise, and San Diego State. Those three are going to be contending for the Mountain West championship in basketball.
Boise State plays basketball?
Boise State's really good at basketball. You should actually watch Boise State play basketball. They
did not know this.
They are decent. They
Okay.
are a decent college basketball team. I believe they've made the NCAA tournament like the last 3 years.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, it's something else. And Nevada's up there too. Our old friend Steve Alford.
Our old friend. Fuck that guy.
New Mexico's up there too.
That was also our old friend Steve Alford at one point.
It was. Yeah, I like Boise State basketball, so look out for them.
Oh boy.
But yeah, Utah State's going to be right in that mix. Mountain West basketball is fun. If you've never watched Mountain West basketball, it's actually fun.
No, not really. No.
This is why I'm a college basketball sicko.
I'm more of a WAC guy myself. I'm more of a San Diego State Gonzaga.
You mean
St. Mary's? Excuse me.
That's West Coast Conference. WAC is entirely different. That's
Well, see, then I didn't know it as well as I thought I did.
The WAC does have a good team, though. Just one good team, though. Grand Canyon.
Oh, Grand Canyon. The Antelope.
Grand Canyon Western Athletic Conference is all Grand Canyon. The West Coast Conference is all Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and Santa Clara to a lesser extent. San Francisco is pretty good, too. The Dons, they're good. West Coast Conference basketball is fun. I like to watch a lot of mid-major basketball. I really do. I love mid-major basketball.
You are a sicko.
Yes, when it comes to college basketball, I'm a sicko.
That's why you carry us all winter into the spring, Andrew, because I don't.
When March comes around and those brackets come out, I've done my research already throughout the year because I've already watched hours and hours of all these mid-major teams that people, and even some of the low-major teams that these people know nothing about. I've watched them. Bless
your heart.
I don't know about bless my heart. I got a lot of time on my hands. I don't have kids. I don't have kids yet.
Oh God.
So once I have kids, I probably won't be a college basketball sicko anymore.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. I'll have to pick what I want to watch. I'll have to make tough choices.
That's right.
Anyways, you looking forward to anything with this game about Utah State? Me kind of teeing it up there.
So I look forward to actually watching it, Andrew.
There you go.
Because there is a Hawkeye huddle down in DC tomorrow night with the Capital Area I Club. I plan on attending that. So I'll be with some DC Iowa alums tomorrow night watching some basketball. So yeah, I look forward to actually just watching it, Andrew. Like I said, I haven't watched basketball at all this year, so gonna spend the time tomorrow night and do that and enjoy some company down in DC.
Yeah, that'll be good. 8 p.m. your time, I think.
Of course.
7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. your time. At least it's not super late. We've had like 9 p.m. starts on Friday night your time before.
Well, so we're not going to tailgate until 9:30 in the morning on Saturday, so it's okay.
There you go. You go.
This isn't going to be one of those 7 a.m. Iowa City type situations. Gonna take it easy.
Josh Dix is back. He was out last game. He's kind of been day to day. Sounds like he practiced in full today for the first time. So I think
Dix practiced in full. He's back.
Let's go.
Back in full.
Yeah. There's kind of this weird dynamic kind of going on with the team. Peyton Sanford was kind of deemed our number one option, I think, by people. But I really think that it might be by the end of the year, like Josh Dix might actually be our number one. Like he can kind of create for himself. He can go get a shot in a way that Peyton can't. I think the offense needs to like center around him a little bit more. I don't know.
I look forward to watching Drew Thelwell play myself.
Yes, you were. I mean, I said before the season, I'm gonna love Drew Thelwell. Hawk fans are gonna love Drew Thelwell. You should. You should absolutely love Drew Thelwell. Like they get a couple stops. He goes over to the crowd and starts flexing and trying to get it all going. And he's like, him and Traore are both intense about defense. Like Traore had this quote the other night, like they were asking him, like what inspires you to play defense? He's like, I take it personal. He's like, if you take it personal, then nobody should score on you. Like I take it very personal when someone scores on me.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I was like, that's exactly how you should think about it as a defender.
Yeah, no kidding.
Scores on me. That's a personal affront to me.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've had guys that, that are defense first like that.
Yeah.
So, you're going to like Thelwell and Traore. Hopefully Traore is in attack mode offensively. He kind of does this thing where he's trying out the outside shot, but I think some of that's just, hey, we're up by 20. It's a non-conference opponent. Time to try out the outside shot. Time to try out the other offensive moves I got in my game. And he's young. We've got him for another 3 years after this. So that's good news. He's going to be – I know you're excited about Thelwell, but Traore is going to be critical because we're going to need him for that. Him and Dembele, we're going to need them for that rebounding aspect against Utah State if we're going to get the win.
Sure.
So that's going to be the whole ball game tomorrow night right there. Neutral court for both teams, so I don't think there's any sort of advantage like shooting wise. Sometimes teams are like on a neutral court. It's in Kansas City. I don't think we mentioned that yet. I can't remember the last time Iowa played in Kansas City. The Iowa men. Yeah. It's been a while. So that'll be an interesting aspect of this game. I think the crowd's going to lean Iowa pretty heavily, but it won't be in.
You would think so.
Yeah, unless Utah State just has a rabid fan base that travels. Who knows?
Spencer Petras be there?
That'd be cool. That'd be great. We could use him back. Can we get the 1 week loan? Can we do like a soccer thing? You know how soccer like loans guys out? Can we just do a soccer thing with our men's football team and just loan Spencer Petras to Iowa for 1 week?
I think so. I think that's allowed.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Anyways,
you might as well. You can do anything else in college football. So
yeah. Anyways, just to kind of emphasize my point about defensive improvement with the Iowa men's basketball team, they're 65th in defensive rating. I think last year they were hanging out in the 160s. Like even early in the season, they weren't in the top 100 in defensive rating last year on KenPom. They didn't ever touch the top 100. Every year that Fran's teams have been top 100 defensive rating, they've made the NCAA tournament. So that's it.
We got to follow that one.
We're going to have to follow defensive rating for the rest of this year because it will be a very big predictor of where this team goes. So
okay, all right.
I'm going to pick. You can pick first. I'll let you have the first pick. I'll let you have the first crack at the score. Both teams love to get up and down. Utah State scored 100 points. Another thing is Utah State's really bad at defending the three-pointer. They're like 250th in opponent three-point field goal percentage. So there's an opportunity for Iowa, who shoots a ton of threes now, to have a chance there. They're going to have to do that.
We are going to go 84-78 Iowa.
Yeah, I think. Let me pull up. I want to see what the if there's an over/under on it. I don't know. I would bet the over/under.
I bet it's in the 160s.
Yeah, I don't know. I bet it's in the 160s too.
You go ahead and do your prediction. I'll look it up.
Okay, I'll do my prediction. I think Josh Dix being back is a huge boost. I think his three-point shooting just adds another element to this Iowa offense, along with Price Sanford. It's been hot. So I think Iowa's going to shoot the ball well from three tomorrow night. That can be a little bit fickle on a neutral court, but I think it's going to go well tomorrow night. And I think we do just enough keeping them off the offensive boards to win this game. So I'm gonna go with a little bit more offense than you. I'm gonna go 90-82. I'm gonna go 90-82 Iowa. I think we splash a few threes and probably hit some free throws late and that kind of thing to extend the lead and win by 8. But it's probably a game that's played within 5-6 points most of the way. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a game between two NCAA tournament caliber opponents on a neutral court. So it's gonna be a fun one.
There's not a line or total out on that game yet.
Okay. Well, it'll come out tomorrow and it'll probably be like 165.5.
Probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Considering that Utah State's averaging 90 points per game and we're averaging like high 80s, it'll probably be somewhere around there. So, all right. Well, you got anything else for us this week before we call it a week?
I'm ready to watch some Iowa football. I mean, to watch it in person.
Yeah.
Kind of my last hurrah out here in Maryland before we moved to Kansas City. If you didn't notice, rocking my Bobby Witt t-shirt.
Oh man, you're really buying in early.
Actually, my high school buddies bought this and a Patrick Mahomes t-shirt jersey, and presented it to me at our wedding a couple weeks ago. As my friends know, I'm a Raider fan, so there's absolutely no chance in hell I'm wearing that Patrick Mahomes shit. But,
I was gonna say,
but
that's getting sold.
But I'll root for Bobby Witt and the Royals as long as they're not playing the Orioles.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can jump on the Royals train.
The Royals
Chiefs, absolutely no chance in hell.
The Royals have won? How many World Series won?
They won 2. They won the World Series in '85, didn't they?
Okay.
And then they won it. And then they won it in 2015 with that bullpen: Wade Davis.
Yes.
Herrera.
Yes.
I can't remember the other guy's name, but it was sick. Like the
2015.
bullpen.
Yeah, I remember that because the Royals won it. And they hadn't done it in a long time.
And they lost the World Series the year before that.
Yes, that was it. They lost it. They made it all the way back and won it. That was a good story. And then 2016.
Yep. 2014, they lost the World Series to the Giants. And then they won it in 2015.
There you go.
Yep.
There we go. All right. Well, with that, I think we will call it a night. Hopefully we can come out with some wins this weekend for all three of our main sports that we talk about here. And
Cyhawk Wrestling.
Oh, that's this weekend?
Yep.
We're going for 20 in a row?
I think so.
We're going to get it. Goes without saying. Easy dub.
In Carver, baby.
Yeah, in Carver, easy dub. This could be brutal for the Cyclones.
I hope so.
Could be brutal. I don't know anything about either squad, by the way, so don't take my word for it. Yeah, but hopefully we can get 20 in a row. And then, we'll come back. Well, I don't know if we'll be back next week. It's Thursday, it's Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll be back earlier in the week.
Wednesday
We'll
night?
figure it out.
Wednesday night, maybe?
Maybe we'll do a little Wednesday feast night. But enjoy feast week if you're a college basketball sicko like me.
There you go.
All right. Well, with that, we'll sign off and wish you all the best. Thanks for listening, as always, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.